Hello and welcome back to RageGamingVideos and a new Elden Ring discussion video, because of course we're talking more Shadow of the Erdtree, the newly announced expansion to Elden Ring. Expansion obviously being an interesting way to describe their first paid DLC, which is what we imagine this is, but expansion might be a more apt description for the size and scale of this DLC. Now, all we really have is that initial tweet and the announcement of that, and this beautiful, very high quality image showing us a very strange and interesting situation, place, and maybe period of time. Now, in my initial video on this topic, I gave my initial thoughts, which were my speculation as to who that character riding Torrent is, what time and where this actually is, what's going on with the Erdtree itself. Now, as I explained and outlined in that video, I figured the chances were more likely that it was Miquella riding Torrent or Marika. Now, I really like the idea that this is Marika, very young and on her way to the newly corrupted and infested by the Golden Order, by the Elden Beast itself that's just landed into the Crucible Tree, turning it into the Erdtree as we know it. That golden light that's going through the actual tree, that's what's going on there. That's the beginnings of that. And she's going there to investigate or being drawn there. And then we might have this whole go to the past and experience the beginnings of the Golden Order and maybe some of the major events like fighting the Storm King and the Giants War and crushing the other nations. All of that's really cool, but as time's gone on, I think more speculation has come up, and now I think there's a new theory that I think is more reasonable. It's a popular theory at this point, probably the most popular one, so we're going to discuss the different sides of it and follow that. Firstly, is that Miquella, or is it Marika, or is it someone else? So, a lot of people on Twitter, at least on the initial day, were basically saying that must be Miquella because he's got braids in his hair, and Miquella, as we saw him in the opening cinematic where he's been taken by Mohg, same braids, right? It's basically the same thing. But I think it's unreasonable to say that's the only reason we'd be like, yep, that's 100% Miquella. Because let's say Miquella's mother, Marika, she too has got braided hair in many images and artwork. There's so many cases where we have golden characters with golden hair and they have braids just like that. Now, it's definitely not the case that it's Fia, right? Not in my opinion, but Fia had the same braids. So I just don't think that's enough for us to be like, that's Miquella 100%. It's not 100% any speculation, because all we have, guys, is one image and the best connections we can make. But it is fun and exciting to talk about. I think it's just a bit unreasonable to latch onto one theory and claim it's fact. But let's go further. That braided aspect is a really important one, because Miquella's knights, the ones that you fight in the Erdtree, they're wearing a special helmet that has that braided design around its head. Braids is clearly a theme, a sort of a symbol that represents Miquella and his faction, as it were. So them being so clear in that Shadow of the Erdtree image, it does seem likely. When we see Marika hanging, say, inside the Erdtree, she's a bit disheveled. There ain't no nice braids to look at. I think that's probably unreasonable because I don't think she's got time to look after her hair in that impaled situation. And again, we do have imagery where she does have a braid. Miquella probably got it from her. That's what I'm thinking. But we've gone down the route of if that's Marika. Let's go down the route if that is indeed Miquella. And you know what? There is some really interesting reasoning as to why that might, of course, be him. Let's look at the Erdtree. Or actually, let's look at the two trees, because upon closer inspection, it looks to me like that is indeed two trees. We have one straight tree that's being pulled sideways by the other. That straight tree, as I speculated, may have been like corrupted or pierced by, say, the Golden Order and the Elden Beast. I think there's another theory we can go for there, because there are two items in game that talk about the blessed sap of the Erdtree. There's a shield and there's a talisman, a really important talisman that heals you over time. The Blessed Dew talisman actually shows us this interesting icon of hands holding up a sort of goblet and a drop of dew, I guess, you know, the sap from a tree. On the description of that item, it says that it was once thought that the blessed sap of the Erdtree would drip from its bowels forever. That age of plenty swiftly came to a close, and with time, the Erdtree became more of an object of faith. So it was once an actual thing that served a purpose. They would collect its dew, its sort of sap, and drink it. And that healing effect of that talisman shows that it just restores, 2 health per second, just while it's equipped. Miquella, I believe his great rune was one of abundance. That's his whole thing. And this aligns with that whole sap concept. And when we look back at that image, now I can't help but see the dew, the sap, sort of seeping out of the golden core of the Erdtree. That's what's within. And during that time, it would actually be something you could use, but eventually it's used up, eventually it dries out. In this place that we're at, it's just dripping. It may be even everlasting, which makes me think this isn't necessarily a real place. Before we get to that though, what is this other tree that's wrapping and pulling at the Erdtree? That actually looks like the Haligtree upon further inspection. What if, in itself, this imagery of the Haligtree wrapping and pulling at the Erdtree is literally what Miquella hoped for, to create a new Erdtree, a new age of abundance. Very interesting, this dialogue in the files of the game, and it's something that multiple people have been talking about. Some of my favorite creators on topics like this, Sekiro Doobie made an image about this paragraph, as well as the great modder or modding team, Garden of Eyes. It goes as follows: young seedling, return to the bosom of earth, but remember well, thou art mine. So shall I give of myself, this is for thee, mine abundance, my drop of dew. Quench thy thirst throughout thy frame, blossom and burgeon, time and time again. Grow larger and stronger until the day cometh when thou canst share in my dream. Elden Ring, O Elden Ring, beget order most elegant from my tender reverie. This sounds like the tree is talking, does it not? I give you myself, my abundance, my drop of dew. Or is it Miquella with his rune of abundance, imagining himself a tree giving up its sap for others, helping others grow larger and stronger, until they can too share in his dream. I talked about this in my Things You Didn't Know series extremely recently, that it seemed like Miquella had a plan with an eclipse to help Godwyn die a true death. During that discussion, we looked at a ghost that's within Castle Sol that is kind of lamenting his situation. He says, Lord Miquella, forgive me, the sun has not been swallowed. They didn't basically succeed in their eclipse plan. Your comrade remains soulless, so we think that might be Godwyn, who, doesn't have a soul, is just a living body. And then laments that this ghost, he will never set his eyes upon it now. Your divine Haligtree. I always thought that just meant that he never made it to the Haligtree, but you can kind of see it from Castle Sol. So what he may have meant is that he will never see the true, fully formed, finished, divine version of the Haligtree. So when we look back at the Shadow of Erdtree image, and we look at the Haligtree wrapping around the Erdtree, could this be the divine Haligtree? Could this be what Miquella wanted, but never achieved? So the question is, how is this image even existing? What is this place? How are we going to go there? Maybe it's all a dream. Maybe it's what we thought from the beginning for a long time. The number one speculation for what the DLC might be, Miquella's dream. Maybe we are looking into Miquella's dream of the divine Haligtree, a warped, different version of the lands between, where Miquella is still whole, if not a child, riding his mount again, Torrent, who appears to be Miquella's mount after all. Not this Renna or, the original teacher of Ranni, not Marika. So that is the popular theory I'm seeing for a lot of different people, a lot of different discussions, whether it's on Twitter or Reddit. Those are the different items in game and even characters with, say, the Ghost of Castle Sol that I am able to see and put together. I don't think this is a complete theory, and I do not take credit for it either. This is kind of a combination of different theories and things that I've read and looked at, and I think it's really cool and interesting, again, to have something to speculate and talk about in this way. Perhaps in a few days, or however long, someone will realize, oh, what about that item, or what about this theory, and we'll attach to that and find that interesting to talk about that. For now, we still have so little information that I don't think it's wise to say it's 100% anything, as many have been doing, but it's an exciting time. So let me know what you think about this popular theory, and if you have anything to add to it. For now though, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice. to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage is, goodbye.